Welcome. Please click the link in the chat to access the presentation. Hey, Miss Vincent. Who else do we have with us today?
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's nice to hear from you as well.
It's great to
Glad
see
you
you.
able to join me, girl. Awesome, my friend. So let me just get rid of my music real quick. Okay, welcome everyone. I am so excited that you are joining me this afternoon for Let's Animate. Woo-hoo! So we're going to spend some time together. Thank you for giving me your time. I'm ready to go. You ready to go? Woohoo! Yes, we are. Let me go ahead and let a couple more people join us. And then we're going to rock and roll. As I stated, this session is being recorded. I totally forgot to record the other session. Isn't that bad? But this one is recorded. I did it. Woohoo! I'm going to place a link in the chat for those of you who have just joined. Please go ahead and click this link to log into our presentation. So we've got a couple more people coming right on. Oh, fast and furious. Give me just a moment to let these last folks in. Please, as I stated, click the link for the presentation because you, my friends, are going to do a little work and we're going to have a lot of fun together. Awesome. Okay. Hang on one second. Wow. Okay. Let me put this link for just a couple more people. There we go. So please click that link so that you have it and you are joining me today for Let's Animate. Our Let's Animate, we're going to work together to learn how to do some digital animation. And I'm primarily talking about for students that are in K-5, 6-8, those students that may not have access to higher level resources such as Adobe to create their own animation. So we're going to create some animation together. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As I stated to Let's Animate, my name is Alisa McCollum. I am so glad you decided to join me this afternoon. Please make sure, if you have not already done so, that you log into the Performance Matters app and that you use the code that's on the screen to make sure you, yes, you can get credit for attending this course. I'm so excited that you're with me, so let's have some fun. We're going to take a look at Let's Animate. So in this session, we're going to learn how animation can be used to enhance our teaching and learning. I want to hear from you first off, so I like to come up with these crazy little silly little questions. So go ahead and write your name in the chat, and I want you to tell me what fruit would you be if you were a fruit. So type your name in the chat. Tell me what fruit you would be if you were a fruit, and you can even put why you would choose to be that particular fruit as well. So go ahead and do that for me. I would greatly appreciate it. Introduce yourself. I like for you to use the chat to communicate with me, so I feel like I talk, and I talk a lot, and as y'all can already tell, I talk very quickly. So tell me to slow it down if you need me to slow it down. I'm going to share resources with you today, but I love to have communication from you. And so let's use the chat. Let's use some of the tools in Google, such as to raise their hand if you have questions and things of that nature. But I like you to talk to me. So I like the back and forth. I like looking over there, seeing what is listed. So I see somebody is a banana. How cool. I got some pineapples. Feel free to tell us why you will be such and such fruit as well. Go ahead and click that link to go to our presentation. I want the watermelon person because I just bought one. I can't wait to crack it open. Marta, yes. It's summer and you're sweet. Aw, how cute. Right, folks, right? So we're going to be talking about less animation and learning how animation can be used to enhance our teaching and learning. Now, our goal today is to be doing just a dip into digital animation. I'm going to show you some tools that we can utilize, starting with tools that are very, very simple and easy to use, going to tools that are more freeform and can be a little bit more complex, right? So that's our goal today. I'm also going to have you test a few things out. I have some designated points where I'll give you a set amount of time for you to test some resources, but also you can do it along with me as well. So I'm going to show you how to kind of split your screen so you can listen to the presentation on one side as well as work on the other side of your screen at the same time. Cool, let's go. So welcome. As I stated, we're going to be looking at creating our own animations, and we're also going to leave some time for reflection, some sharing out, and some wrap up. So I have some resources for you to do that. In the chat, please tell me, what is your understanding of animation? Like, are you a novice? So we're going to do a fist to five. Are you a novice? Like, I know nothing, 0? Or are you like 5? Man, I could teach this to you right now. Where do you fall on the spectrum of a fist to 5? Are you 0? Are you 5? Do you know what it's about? Do you have any notions? And this will help me kind of gear how much time I need to spend on each component. Oh, I love it. So most of us are 0s, 1s, and 2s. Not bad. Cool. Okay, great. Do I have any experts? I'm happy for you to be an expert and you join us too. Cool. Okay, so first and foremost, what is animation? Well, animation is really the art of putting together some inanimate objects, meaning objects that are not alive, and making them appear to move, right? Making it appear to move. Simulated movement. Now, there's different types of animation. And there's different types of animation. So I've put in here some examples of animation. For example, we have object animation, which is moving the objects themselves. If you click the link, you know what? I just realized I need to change how I'm sharing. Give me one moment. And let me share my whole screen. Boom. Let me try that again. Let me back it up, girl. Get it sorted. I love this part. Okay, here we go. Cool. Right, so we're going to be looking at object animation, which means we're going to be moving and animating objects. So the way this is set up, here's your little definition. If you click that example, I have some built-in resources. So for example, this is someone's idea of an object moving. How hilarious. How funny is that, right? So those are different components of animation. We have claymation. I don't know if y'all know that. I'm dating myself, but the California Raisins, cool claymation. We also have gummy, which is a really cool clay animation as well. There's pixelization, which is when you're animating people. So you can have a look at how these folks went about animating people themselves and making them seem like they are moving. There's some really cool commercials there, but there's lots and lots of different type of animation. We're going to focus on digital animation because that's the type of animation I can do with my K-5 students, my middle school students as well, and they all have a device that they can create on. But do have a look at the other animation examples as well. So what are we going to do? We're looking at animation, but keeping in mind how we can use this animation in education. I'm going to relate some examples about how I've been using it with my students, but folks, your knowledge, you have some good ideas, my knowledge base. So you can share ideas about how you would use animation with your students as well. So for example, I use animation with my students to have them illustrate concepts and ideas. I have them create animations to show their work. We use animations in our creative writing. I did a course on digital storytelling earlier, and one of those components is I have my students actually do some creative writing and bring their stories alive, animating their ideas using animation. We pull in animation in different presentations just to excite us to grab our attention. And we also use animations by creating different characters for our games as well. I do an elective course on digital game design, and we create our own sprites, our own characters, our own animated characters for our games. These animations can be used for any academic subject. The sky is the limit. So I want you to put your thinking hats on, and as we go through looking at some of the animation components I'm going to share with you, how might you use them with students? And I want you to kind of flood the chat telling me how you might use it with students. I see that I have a message in the chat, and I'll get to that message in just a moment. Okay. So here's kind of an overview of some of the tools that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be looking at an older bit of goodie, you may know it, ABC or Animate. We're going to be looking at a tool called J2E Animation. We're going to be looking at a tool called Brush Ninja. I use Brush Ninja to create this animation that's just saying hi to all of you. We're going to be looking at a tool that allows you to use real objects in your computer's webcam or the student's Chromebook webcam called Stop Motion Animator. We're going to be practicing and playing around with how we can create animation using Google Slides. And then, yes, my friends, you have homework. I love giving homework. There's going to be more tools and resources for you to explore. And there's some additional resources for you to build up your knowledge base, your knowledge about animation as well. Before I get to that, I want to show you something. Many of you may already know how to do this, but I want you to know how to split your screen. And if you're not sure how to do that, do a quick search and just search for split screen, right? If you're on a Mac, please search for how to split screen on Mac. If you're on an Android device, do the same. But one of the reasons I want you to do this is so that you have part of your screen being able to be shown on the other side. That means I can pull out and work on two items at the same time. So all I did to split my screen, I'm on a Windows device. I pressed the Windows logo key and either the left key or the right key, depending on what side you want to split it on. And this will allow you to open up resources and work with me while also being able to see the presentation that I'm sharing with you. Okay, so I'm going to move that back over, make my screen back bigger, full screen. Let me full screen that, baby. Awesome. Let's go. Let's dive in. Now, I'm going to place some links in the chat as we go along as well, so you can follow along with me. But I am going to show you a variety of tools first, and then I'm going to give you practice time. So I'm going to whip through a couple of tools, and then I'm going to say over to you. But if you have questions as we go through, put them in the chat, and I'll make sure I try to address them. Before we get started, a lot of you were saying that your knowledge base is limited, and that's great. That's a great place to be. When I'm starting out with students and we're talking about animation, and in this case, it's digital stop animation, we got to all be on the same page. And to get on the same page, we're starting with our keywords. We need to know some crucial vocabulary. So on your screen, you see some terminology that I'm going to be using as we go through. And just to make sure we're all just clear about what those words mean and how they apply to our stop motion animation, our digital animation, right? So animation, we already talked about the fact that, you know, it's frame by frame, it's altered slightly between one frame to the next frame. But what in the world is a frame? Frames are individual pictures. There are individual scenes in our digital animation. Frame rate is how fast or how slow does each picture show up. Our timeline, think about our timeline like a photo negative. It allows us to look at all the different frames, all those photo negatives in one go. We can rearrange them. We can see what's being placed there. We can preview and scroll through and reorganize our frames. Our canvas is our work area. Think about like a painting, a canvas for a painting. That's where you're actually putting the work. That's where you're actually creating your masterpiece. We have our background, and our background is similar to our setting. That's where we put all of the gorgeous stuff. That's where we decorate it and make it even more beautiful and come alive to represent what's actually moving on the screen. We have different tools, like we have tools that we're going to be using to draw and to type and to create and to design our characters, as well as change our background on our animation. Our characters are like our actors. They're the objects that are moving across the screen. And those actors can be digital, different images that we put together, or they could be physical characters such as Lego toys or even oranges. Anything you can put your hand on can be animated. A word that's a little bit unusual, but I do want you to know, is the word onion skin. And an onion skin means it's just an overlay. If you've ever looked at a real onion, if you peel off one layer of that onion skin, you almost, but not quite, can see through it. And so the onion skin allows us to be able to see what's behind the layer we're working on. So we're able to look behind the layer we're working on, and it just helps keep your frames a little bit smoother. You'll notice that you can move items slowly, and you can tell where the starting object was and where the next object is going to be. Our script is just that. That is what we're going to write to make our story come to life. It helps us put our dialogue in. We know where things are going to be moved. What is our script going to be as we plan our story? And our storyboard is our graphic organizer that pulls all those elements together. So that's just a quick summary of the main keywords that we will need to understand as we are diving into animation. There are more, but these are the ones that I present to students in the beginning. Yay! Now that I've given you just a little flavor of the terminology, let's dive into a tool, y'all. Let's look at a first tool. Now, before we do that, let's talk about the layup of this formation of this slide. All the slides are set up so that on the left, you get a little preview of an animation that I created using the tool that's being introduced to you. You also have some additional resources that you can check out. So for example, this one here is going to take you to a link that's going to take you to some Twitter feeds of people who have used ABCU before, so that you can have some additional ideas about how you can use this tool with your students. It's just a good way to kind of generate ideas for use. Cool. In addition to that, I've just given a little overview of the tool itself. And just a little introduction. The cool thing is, for most of these, actually, to be honest, for all of these, I've created tutorials. So while I'm going to give you a sample about how to use the tool, I've also created tutorials. And these are the same tutorials that I use with my students, and I share with my students from kindergarten all the way up on how to use these particular tools. So those tutorials are available for you to dive a little bit deeper in. But I like to get started. Woo-hoo! So let's create an animation. I'm going to click on the link to ABC Animate. And this is an oldie goodie, and I like to use it. I do have my ad blocker turned on, so I'm actually going to turn it off for ABC. And I have it on because, honestly, I don't like looking at advertisements as I go to websites. So I'm going to turn my ad blocker off, and I'm going to refresh. And this is going to allow me to see ABC Animate, but it also brings up the ads on the side. So I got to suffer through this ad, which is lovely. And I tell my students, I'm like, look, we learn to focus in the middle. We ignore the ads that are around it. And they become really quite good at ignoring all the ad space. So we just have to suffer through it and ignore all the ads. So ABC is going to start. It's going to load itself. So I'm going to go ahead and press the play button. And to get the most out of this, I need you to participate with me. So remember, I'm going to go through about three or four of them, and then I'm going to give you an opportunity to select one or two to practice on your own. So let's talk about ABC. This is our canvas, which this is our work area. There's a couple of things for us to notice. At the top is where they place their timeline. We have our different frames. We have the ability to add frames. We also have a settings gear over to the right. I use the settings gear to turn on my onion skin, and on this particular resource, the onion skin just looks like little eyeballs, but I'm going to turn it on here so it shows. I'm going to click the gear again to turn that off. I have a couple of things I can look at. So this is my background. And when I click edit background, here's the cool thing about ABC Animate. They have some built-in backgrounds that I can choose between. And I could choose like, oh, how cool is that? I could choose from a variety of different backgrounds. Or I can choose color. And this allows me to choose a basic color. For example, if I was going to pull this animation into green screen, I will put a green background. That's also really cool to do, but that's another session. Or you could choose to choose white, and you can use the tools along the bottom to create your own background. So let's look at some of those tools. We have a paintbrush, and that paintbrush allows me, I'm going to click the palette, I can choose my own colors. So I can swatch across and do my own design. Best artist never. My own design on my background. So let's check out some of the others. This is a watercolor brush, so I'm going to change my brush color. This is a watercolor brush. Notice how different it is. It's much more washed out than the paint brush, which was more like acrylic. We also have one of my favorite brushes, which is the Magic Paintbrush. And the Magic Paintbrush is just so cool. I love this rainbow one. You could choose to paint with road. You could choose to put in those railroad tracks, or you can even choose to put in paw prints. How cool is that? Maybe you want to put in a brick wall, right? So you could choose to design your background however you want using those brushes. So I'm going to come here. I have an eraser, and I'm going to do big erase, and I can erase big things just like that. If I want to clear the whole background a little faster, I'm actually going to go over to the hamburger in the bottom right, which are our 3 lines, and I'm going to choose new. That's going to erase everything and let me start over. In addition to the paintbrushes, I also have the text tool, so I can type text and I can decide what size I want my text to be. So I'm going to say welcome here. I can also choose to change the color of my text. So as long as I have it selected, I can change the color that quickly. I can also pull it back in again and resize it. I can choose different fonts for my text if I want different styles. So you can actually add some text to your animation as well, some simple text to your animation. In addition to text, we also have shape tools where I can add in some different shapes. So for example, if I wanted to animate a heart and have that moving across the screen, or maybe a triangle, and remember, I can choose different colors for these objects as well. Awesome! Each one of them is able to be selected and moved and placed in different locations. My favorite tool to use for animating objects is the stickers. So I can have lots and lots of different stickers that I can use to animate across the screen. Cool, right? Well, that's kind of all the tools. How about we actually do something? So I'm going to clear my screen again. So I'm going to click that hamburger over to the bottom right, my 3 lines. But before I clear it, I want to show you a couple of other things. I can also save my animation. So once I finish creating my animation, I can save it. And I can use it in something else. I can save it as a flip book, so I can print it. And like those old style, notebooks you have in class where you drawing the little stick person and making it move, you can print one of those flip books and have a flip book where you're flipping through the pages to see your animation move as well. I also have another location to edit the background. And there's also a very helpful section that tells you what each one of these items are. But again, as I stated, I'm going to start over. And I think, well, let's put all that terminology together and let's actually create something, right? So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to choose ocean like I had before. And this is my ocean background, and I'm going to animate some items. So I'm going to go and I'm going to find some animals and items to put in my ocean background. So let me go. Oh, here's some cool ones. So I think I'm going to take myself a little whale. Why not? I'm going to have my whale. I can decide to change the size of my whale. I can change it on its x-axis. I don't want it to be looking like it's dying, so I really don't want to flip it on the y-axis. Not fish, right? When they're upside down, they're not alive. So here's my little well. I'm going to add a couple more items. With Adobe Spark, you want to include all of your characters first before you make any changes. So I'm going to locate all my little characters and put a little crab scuttling on the bottom. I think I'm going to find a couple of other objects. I'm going to have another fish. Why not? I think I'll put this fish over here. And I'm trying to use different sizes so that I have some interest. That little whale, I think I'll just have your little tail hanging out. I want some different objects so that I have some items of interest. I think I'm going to do a little submarine too, right? So I have my submarine be big so it looks like I have some items that some people that are coming to check out what's going on in the ocean, right? Okay, so I've set my scene. And like I said, with ABC or Animate, you want to put on all the characters first. You want to make sure you have all your characters on there first so that they are in location. I'm going to come back to my little gear and make sure showing previous frame is on show. Excellent. Come back. And now I want to duplicate. Remember, animation is simulating movement. So I want to duplicate this frame and I'm going to subtly move each object. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to say copy frame. Well, nothing happened, right? Well, it did. It's the exact same frame. So watch what happens when I move my little crab. You see that little shadow? It's hard to see, but there's a shadow of the crab. Watch my little, there you go. You see my submarine? There's a little shadow. That's where the onion skin comes in handy. It lets you know what's behind the first object. So as you make your little change, it shows the movement. So I'm going to move these items and I'm going to move them. I tell my students that I need them to create at least 10 frames. So I'm just going to very quickly copy the objects. And every time I'm going to copy frame and I'm going to simulate movement. And I'm simulating movement by moving each object just a little bit every single time. Every single time, I'm going to move it. Boom, boom. I was very clever. I put my fish first, so I didn't have to hide my fish behind my submarine. I'm going to copy frame one more time. Oops, that was a big jump, but that's okay. Hard thing. Here's my fish. Remember, I'm subtly moving each object every time. Now, I'm over here by the whale. And I really want the whale to disappear now because just a little tip is showing. So I selected the whale. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click my selector tool. So I'm going to do that again. Click the little arrow at the bottom. And now I'm going to press the X to delete. My whale is now gone. It's no longer on the screen. Now I'm going to copy again. See, this time, no whale tail. I subtly move, subtly move, subtly move. My crab's just scuttling on the bottom. And I'm going to do a couple more. Boom, boom, boom. Just a few more. I'm going to move big this time. And the more you move, the faster it will seem like these objects are moving on the screen. So I'm going to move a little bit more. To go. Awesome. So I got a couple more I want to do just to get everything off the screen because I like to have my characters start where they're not seen. So everybody's got just a little tip there. I'm going to copy one more time. And now I'm going to delete my characters. Delete. Delete. So that they're no longer showing. Well, what does this look like, folks? When I put it all together, what does it look like? Let's press go. Voila! I have them moving across the screen. Now, I tend to start with ABC right at the very beginning of kindergarten, but I also use it with my fifth graders. I use it with all my students. They like to be able to create their own little simple animations, and ABC or Animate is a great place to start. You get a good understanding of what each terminology represents, and they're able to have success immediately. You see exactly what's occurring, and they know what they've done. The cool thing, as I said before, save it. Save it, right? Save it. Because once you save it, you have it as a gift. Woohoo! So I'm going to say, sure. And I'm going to save it, and let's check out my gift. Why not? Boom. Here's my gift that I just created. And now I can take that gift and I can put it in other programs as well. There is an ABC app, but the app for ABC costs money. So I like to do it on the web version because then it's free. So there's a lot of free components on the web that actually cost money on the app version. Unfortunately, I can't quite remember what the app version costs right now. But there you go. And remember too, like if you want to print it, because sometimes you want a physical copy of it. So you can print it as a flip book. I will do in just a second. So it's coming up to print. And you will see like a whole little flip book. So maybe you don't want just a digital items. Sometimes it's really good to have a little printed out, cut it up, have a little flip book you can flip back and forth. So sometimes we want physical objects as well. We don't necessarily need them, but we can have it. Cool. I'm going to show you that, Mindy, but I'm going to show you in the next tool because it works the same way. Okay. So that's just the ABC Animate. Keeping that principle in mind, we're going to build. Remember, we're going to build from one layer to the next layer, and each tool is going to get a little bit more complex. And then I'm going to give you an opportunity to check out some others. So that was my ABC Animate, and there's a tutorial at the bottom. Let's check out another one. This tool is called J2E Animate. And J2E Animate is just levels up a little bit more. Where ABC Animate, we could add in some simple text. With J2E Animate, we can get a little bit more complex. We can pull in some storytelling elements by adding in speech bubbles, thought bubbles, and some free form text, right? So let's check it out. Woo-hoo! So I'm going to click that button, my friends. You do need to know that J2E Animate, there's the free version, what we're going to look at, but there is also a paid version. If you're interested in a paid version, I have a contact if you're choosing to do that. But it works just as well just doing free. And I'm going to be honest, I'm all about the free stuff, so I tend to just do free. But let's have a look at J2E Animate. And remember, split your screen so you can do some with me, and you can also watch as well. When you click on that link for J2E Animate, you come to this screen. And this screen, very, very similar to ABC. That's why I start there. But first and foremost, we can pick our templates. And our templates are our ready-made backgrounds. So you could choose a ready-made background, or you could choose blank. And if you choose blank, you're going to use the tools over to the left, the bottom left, to actually create your background images. So I can use my little paintbrush to paint on my background. I can fill it all with my little paintbrush there. Or I can choose to use different textures if I wanted to actually fill in with the different textures. So for example, with my kindergartners, we were actually studying underwater animals. And we filled in textured backgrounds, and they actually created their own background image. Something else to know about J2E Animate. So let's kind of look at the bottom. At the bottom is where we have our timeline on J2E Animate. You see that where I poured in my color, that first frame, that is just that. That's the first frame, but that's not the background for each slide. Notice this slide is empty. In order to decorate all slides to have the same background, I have to make sure I select the very, very first one that's over by itself on the left, and I make my changes there. So, and then that will be, now you notice all the rest of them have this green background. So you have to make some choices. Do you want all of them to have the exact same background, or do you want to customize each background? In the beginning, I have my students have all the same background. And then we get crazy and yes, we get more creative and choose our own, right? So I'm going to clear new and talk about a couple more things. So to clear new, I'm going to press the top left corner, that little asterisk, and I'm just going to choose this time. I'm going to choose blank again because I'm going to talk about a couple of things, and I'm going to click OK. In addition to being able to customize my background, I also have some ready-made characters. Just like ABC and Animate, J2E Animate has ready-made characters you can choose between. You can make the characters larger. Oh, huge lion. Or you can make the character smaller. Teeny lion, right? So you can change the size of your characters. Maybe I don't want a lion, so how do I find other characters? Well, click the name animals, and you have different genres, right? So I have different animals I can choose between. Click that little pink button at the bottom. There's different animals, and I use this a lot with my elective class called Zoos and Animals. You also, I'll come back to speech bubbles and text in just a moment, but we also have different faces that we can utilize. Think about different stories you could tell. Think about maybe turning those into historical characters. What stories could they tell that you can bring to life? And animation, why not, right? And we also have fairy tale characters that are already built in. Maybe you want a dragon swooping down. Maybe you got some pirates going on. Maybe you're retelling a story of Peter Pan. Who knows? Do you want to check out some dinosaurs? So there's lots of different ones. Come on, dinosaurs. There's lots of different ones you can do. Maybe you're working with kindergarten or maybe even fifth grade where you're doing the human body. So there's different body parts. So maybe you're working with the ones that are doing the 5 senses. There's even some additional categories as well, such as space. Maybe there's underwater. There's my little body part. Maybe there's underwater components where we have different ocean creatures, whatever, right? So I want you to explore this on your time. There's lots and lots of different ones that you can check out. So let me clear again, and let's just do a quick one. So this time I'm going to change to, I think I'm going to do the woods because I want to think about characters talking. So I'm going to go here, and I think I am going to choose the fairy tale characters, and I'm going to find my friend Pirate Pete. Actually, I'm going to choose him. I'm going to make him a little bit smaller because I want to use the foreground and the background to kind of give the simulation of moving closer to me. So I'm going to put my little friend Pirate Pete small in the background, so he seems like he's a real distance from me. Now, how do I duplicate? On this particular tool, you come down to the bottom, and I'm going to press the green plus, and that green plus is going to give me Pete. I see Pete as a little onion skin. He's so faint back there, right? So because he's still quite a distance away, I'm going to place him again. Now, unlike in ABC or Animate, I can only work with one character at a time when I'm working with J2E Animate. So I need to place Pete. Everywhere I'm going to place Pete, and then I can go back in and put in my other characters that can move, and then I can put in my text as well. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and copy my friend Pete. I'm going to make him a little bit bigger. I'm going to have him get a little bit closer. He's moving fast on here, right? Pete, even though you just have one leg, my friend, you are a fast walker. He's getting closer and closer to us. I'm pressing that green plus to continue to copy my frame so that Pete stays in position. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Pete, boy, you're right on top of me. Awesome. I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to make Pete huge because he's right in front of me. But I have a problem. I can't place Pete because the timeline is in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my timeline by clicking this little arrow. And I'm going to place Pete right there. Now I can open back up my timeline, and it's not in my way, right? Yay, there's my Pete. Yay. So now I have my friend Pete the pirate. Pete the pirate wants to talk to me. So I'm going to come back. And at this point, you could add other characters, but in my case, I'm actually just going to have Pete speak some thoughts. And I really don't think I want Pete talking to me back here. I could have him, but you know what? Let's try it. So I'm going to slim down my little speech bubble. That's really small. And I want Pete to speak, but look, that speech bubble is empty. So I'm going to click that speech bubble again. And now I get an ABC. And I'm going to type, maybe, there we go, ARG. I don't really know how to spell that. We're going to put a little tiny ARG in there, right? And I'm going to place it. And there it is. It shows up. And now I'm going to slide a little bit on my timeline because I want Pete to be a little closer to me now. Let's see. That one was there. So I'm going to have him closer to me. And I'm going to pick another speech bubble. Well, you know what? No, I'm not. I'll keep the same speech bubble, but I'm going to change what I'm saying. Hi there, matey. And I'm going to place, I got a problem. It's too small. So let me make my speech bubble bigger. And now I'm going to place one last speech bubble where Pete is right on top of me. Bob the Dicks. Like I really should be on the boats, but I'm not, but whatever. So I'm going to make my speech bubble bigger. Notice that it's set up and it increased. So I'm going to make it larger. Boom. There we go. Right? There we go. And I have Pete ready to talk to us. Now, I don't know if it's perfect yet. Well, it's always a work in progress, y'all. But let's check out what we have. I'm so excited. Woohoo! So let's press play. Well, it's moving way too fast for me. I can't read it. So here's the good thing. Now, excuse me. I can't read it because it's going too quickly, but I'm going to come over here and I'm going to find the one that has the ARG and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to make sure, actually, let me get rid of that. I'm going to copy it, but this time I'm going to press the red plus because I want it to copy exactly what's already on the screen. So I have it show up with the red plus the exact thing I had before a little longer. So this way I can see it. I'm also going to delete all of these extra ones. I don't really need them. So I'm going to delete the extra boxes on my timeline. So let's check it out. Let's see how it goes this time. Ready, Freddy? Boom. Yes, this is so much better. Now I can read it. Much better. I can read what's actually there. Now, ABC, Animate, and J2E have a lot in common. You have some ready-made characters. You're able to add some simplified text. J2E allows you to add way more text. Like I could have chosen the freeform text. I could have put in other characters and have them moving at the same time. That's cool. Yay! Well, there's a drawback for J2E Animate. If you don't, you need the free version to be able to save easily. I tend not to, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I apologize. You need the paid version in order to be able to save easily. Because I use the free version with my students, when I want them to save their finished animation, I have them use Screencastify or Screencast-O-Matic or some screencast tool and actually do a screencast of their final product. And yes, my friends, I do that with kindergarten. And we, in our kindergartners, know how to create their own screencasts. You can also use the built-in screencast tool on Chromebooks. But how cool is that? So already we looked at 2 tools that are going to help us make some simple digital animation. How cool. I love it, love it. You're going to get a chance to test this out yourself too, friends. Notice on the example that I have many characters moving and I have lots of other characters speaking. You can do something like that too. I'm going to show you another tool and then I'm going to give you the opportunity to explore one of the tools that I've introduced on your own. So work with me here. This next tool, my friends, is called Brush Ninja. With ABC Animate and J2E Animate, you had a built-in collection of characters. And it was a little bit limited in the sense that you could not create your own characters. With Brush Ninja, you, my friends, can be the artist. You can design your own characters either by putting together simple shapes or, as my example shows, drawing your own character on the screen and animating that character. Let's talk a little bit about this slide. Over to the left, I have my character moving, and these are some examples of what I've created with Brush Ninja. But I also have some tools for you to kind of check out in order to kind of get a feel with my students when we're practicing our drawing. Sometimes we get stuck in, how do I do this mode? And it helps to provide some examples. So I just put in some examples. I love that it's not working right now. I don't know why. An example of a stick man walking. I'll fix that link. I put in some examples of phoning lips, or how you can draw your own lips to match how you will actually say proper words, or some examples I give the students of how to draw like cartoon eyes, nose, mouth, things of that nature. And that kind of just gets them started. So they have a place where I'm like, let's create in the Brush Ninja. Here's what we're working for. Not only can we create characters, but I want you to be thinking about other academic topics, not just literacy. You could be creating the parts of a flower. You could be creating a historical movement. Not only can this be done for fictional components, but it could be done for any academic content. So let's dive into Brush Ninja real quick, and let me tell you a little bit about it. Brush Ninja, similar format to the others. It's got our character list, our tools, which are actually across the top. You see our paint palettes are on our right. We can change the size of our brush on the left. We can choose our colors of our brush on the right. Not only can I choose the inside color, I can also choose to do an outline. So I have, let's see, I want my outline to be, in this case, I want it to be pink, and I want my brush to be black. So let's check out that. Well, you can see it a little bit on this. It helps a little bit more if I choose something else. Let me do new, clear my page. I'm going to choose square canvas. And not only can I have my paint, I can also have shapes. And in this case, I have an empty square. I can fill that square. And this time I'm going to fill it with black. Look at that. I can have other shapes as well, right? So I can choose different ones. And I can decide what I want them to be and how I want them to show up. I can also choose different lines, formations. I can have solids, I can have dashes, and dots, right? So dots and dashes. I can even add in some text. And with the text, I have different fonts that I can choose. And when I add in my text, I can attach my text to my object so that I can animate my text as well. So here's my little welcome. I can make it bigger or smaller as well if I had wanted to do so. Boom, right? So that's cool. I can play it a little bit with those tools. You can explore those tools deeper, but I'm going to clear this and we're going to look at a couple more things. One of the other things I like to look at on Brush Ninja is you can create your own background, yes, by painting it. If you're the creative sort, please do so. Or you can choose to search for an image. You can upload your own image. You can take a picture of your webcam and put you, yes, you, my friends, right on the screen as well. Or you can have a solid color. I'm going to search for a background and I'm just going to say space. I'm going to press enter. And I have all of these Creative Commons images for space. And I can choose one of them to be my background. So I'm going to choose this one, get a good look at it. And yes, I'm going to set it as my background. Awesome. In addition to that, not only can I choose to put my space background, but there are some built-in, excuse me for a moment. Oops, wrong thing. There are some built-in components I can use as well. So I could choose to put my own little shape, and I think I'm going to choose this. I can choose to make my own little shape that I want to animate. So let's say I was going to make my own little item that I was going to animate across the screen. I'm going to get rid of this one. So I just select it with the selection key and I press delete. I could choose to animate this moving across the screen, or I'm going to delete that, or I can choose other objects. So across the top, there's not only are there simple shapes like squares, triangles, and whatnot, but if you click the more, they've combined some of these little shapes to make some other characters. And they're very, very simple, and you can make them as complex as you want. So they're very simple. So for example, let's see if I want to put a tree there, right? So I got a tree in space. Here's my little tree trunk. I'm going to say brown, and I'm going to have the inside. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have the outside. This color, inside field. So if I draw my little tree, there we go. Uh-oh, I drew it twice. Let me get rid of one. Boom. So now I have my select tool. I can kind of move it. I can put them together. So let's see. I'm going to take, I think I will have like a pine-like tree, right? So I'm going to change this to green, and I'm going to do the top. Yay! Well, if I wanted to animate that tree, right now they're separate. That's not very good if I want them to move as one object. So I'm going to select all of them by, let me put it in position where I want it. I'm going to select all of them by taking my little cursor and dragging over both so that they're both selected. And over to the left, I can click group. And now it moves together. I can do the same thing if I wanted to put text on here. So if I come over here and I put text, and I'm going to just put, I'm going to make welcome a little bit smaller. Still need to be a little bit bigger than that. And I stick welcome on there. Well, welcome's not going to move unless I join it with the other. So if I group it, now it all moves together. Yay! Well, you know what? I'm going to get rid of that because I'm going to actually do something. Let's make something move. I'm going to choose a little rocket, and I'm going to have my rocket be, black on the outside, and I'm going to have yellow on the inside. And I'm going to put myself a little rocket ship. And let me go to select. And let's learn how to do this. I think I'm going to have my rocket ship, maybe not be quite that big, have the nose of the rocket, there we go, peeking out. And I'm going to make my rocket move across the screen. Now you can add more objects, but in this case, I'm just showing you what to do. So I'm giving you a little sample. I'm going to come to the bottom where my little timeline is. And you see this here? It allows me to duplicate. So I'm going to duplicate it. But first, I'm going to come to the top and I'm going to turn on onion skin. Remember that onion skin helps me position things in a great place. So let me copy it, duplicate. And now I'm going to slightly move it. Look at that onion skin. It helps me know where it was located. I'm going to duplicate again. And I'm going to slowly move my rocket up. Duplicate, duplicate. Woohoo! Now you could have added fire. You could have had stars twinkling. You could have added loads of things to yours, right? So that's what you can have the opportunity to do when you get ready to play in just a moment. You can add loads. So I'm going to continue to duplicate. I could have added some more text in there. I could have added some other items. Boom. And bye-bye rocket. Let's see what it looks like. So let me put you here. Boom. There's my quick little animation of my rocket. Now, the best part, y'all, seriously, the best part about Brush Ninja is how you save it. When you save it, not only can you save it as a GIF, but you also can save it as a Brush Ninja product so that you can come back and add to it. Yes! Not only can you work on it from one day, you can work on it multiple days because you can save it in Brush Ninja format and keep working on the same project. So let me stop. Let me show you how to do that. When I click save in the top bar, at the very top toolbar, it's going to save in Brush Ninja format. And I'm just going to call this yellow rocket. This Brush Ninja format allows me to open this file back up and continue to work on it another day or another session. That's really helpful if you have students more than one day and you want them to make a little bit more complex projects. Now, remember, we went from simple, simple, simple to we're becoming more complex. And this is a very open-ended tool that allows you to be way more complex. If you're done with your work and you're like, man, I'm finished with this, then you click export. And when you click export, and I'm going to click the more, you have the opportunity to export it as an animated GIF. You also, if you wanted the kids to do it in other formats, there's other formats. Like you can do it in an image sequence if you're pulling it into other components, but you can explore those later. So I'm just going to export it as a GIF. And let's check out our GIF that we can use in other products too. So it's going to take a little bit to process. And then once it finishes, we will have a GIF. So I'm going to click, I'm going to download it as a GIF, but you can turn it into a video too. I always suggest you download it as a GIF first, but you can turn it into an MP4 file immediately right there too. I'm going to press here it is. So we went from simple with ABC or Animate, learn a little bit of terminology about animation. We looked at J2E Animate, which allowed us to get a little bit more complex in terms of adding in more textual components. Now we're looking at Brush Ninja, which really is a freeform animation tool, a freeform digital animation tool that allows us to really explore our creative side. I'm going to mention one more, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. I promise, I promise, I promise. The last one I'm going to mention, I cannot demonstrate in front of you because it requires to use the webcam, and I'm actually using the webcam to do this presentation to you. But this tool, I cannot leave it out. It's called Stop Motion Animator. And Stop Motion Animator is very simple. It uses your webcam to create stop motion animation right in front of you, right? So it says Chrome extension, but you really don't need to add a Chrome extension. I put the link directly to the website. So when we click on it, what we'll see is we'll see this. Oops, I clicked the wrong link. Click the website instead, please, folks. And you will see this. You will see a simple interface that allows you to capture, meaning you can snap individual pictures, that'll be our frames, of something that's happening on your screen. So I have the kids, they're down, they're creating, they're looking at their table, and they're moving their objects on their table from place to place, right? So you can also record some simple audio, and you can save it. Now the kids can save it and add on to it. You cannot save it and make changes to what's already been saved, but you can save it and add on to it. So for example, I created this simple little stop motion animation using just a Lego character I found around the house and an orange, okay? Like they're so cool, right? It is so simple to actually do. So you can also check that out. I've included a tutorial because I'm not able to share that with you live, but there is a tutorial here. Okay. Oh my goodness, I've been talking and talking. So I need to stop talking for a little bit because I want to turn it over to you, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes to play. So in the next 5 minutes, I want you to pick one of these tools, and I want you to explore it. I want you to check out what you can create with one of these tools. So I'm going to put the links to those tools in the chat, and I'm going to set my timer, and I want you to check out one of these tools during these 5 minutes. So let's see, my friends. Okay. So sandbox time is over to you. If you have questions as you are, oops, I put the word sandbox and then put my links. Apologies. There we go. So I want you to take a moment and I want you to check out one of these tools. In the next 5 minutes, I'm going to set that timer for 5 minutes. Explore, have fun, enjoy. Go, my friends, go. If you have questions, let me know as you go on. 1 minute remaining. 10 seconds. Thank you so much. Check out the link that I put in the chat that shows a link to a Padlet where you can share your work. So please share your creations on that Padlet. I can't wait to see which tool you decided to use and what you actually created. I love it, love it, love it. Can't wait to check you out, my friends. So have a look at that link that I just placed in the chat that has a link to a Padlet where you can share your work. I know that wasn't like a lot of time to really dive deep, but remember I place tutorials for you to be able to go back and take a closer look at, and you'll be able to explore these tools in more depth at a later time. I want to talk about something else as well. We were looking at ABC Animate as our first tool, which has our built-in characters. We then looked at J2E animation, which allowed us a little bit more freedom in terms of the complexity of text that can be added. We just took a look at Brush Ninja, which is a free-form digital animation tool, which will totally allow us to be able to use animation with our teaching and learning. And there's even a tool called Stop Motion Animator, which allows us to use physical objects to create our animation as well. We're going to look at another tool. And in this case, oops, sorry, click twice there. In this case, we're looking at Google Slides. Now, Google Slides aren't just for presentations like we're doing here. They can be used for many, many, many different things. And one of those is creating simple animation. Over to the left, you see a range of tutorials that I've located on YouTube that are going to show you how to create some animation with Google Slides. We're going to go through the process together in just a moment. But I do want you to take a moment and do look at those animations later on. Over to the right, I've kind of given you a condensed version of the process, but I'm going to click on this link. And when I click on this link that says Google Slide, you're going to be forced to make a copy. And what I've done is I've kind of created a slide deck like I would do with my students. So we're going to go through that process. So I'm going to quickly make a copy. And when I'm making a copy, it's going to open up an animation, a slide deck. And that slide deck begins with some instructions. And the first set of instructions is going to tell me how do I go about setting up my frame for the animation. And just like you would do in ABC, and just like you do in J2E Animate, just like you do in Brush Ninja, you're going to have to pick your background first. And with Google Slides, I picked my background by using many of the built-in tools on Google Slides. So I'm going to click on Insert, I'm going to pick an image, and I'm going to search on web, and I'm going to use the tools that are already built in Google to create my animation. I'm going to also use the tools that are built into Google to actually find my characters and my props. And they have just a little bit of tweaking to be done to it to be able to find the perfect characters and props, but we're going to talk about that too. I'm going to go around and I'm going to place my characters in their first location, just like I did for ABC and Animate. And then I'm going to duplicate the slide, just like I did for all the others. Once I publish my slides, I have to do something slightly different, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So I'm going to skip down to slide number 3. Slide number 2, I'll talk about in just a moment. But here's my blank frame, just like on programs. Here's my blank frame. the first thing I want to do is I want to find my background. And in order to do that, I'm going to, on the toolbar, I'm going to click on Insert. I'm going to click Images. And I'm going to search from Web. Now, I could use a background image that I've located in some other Creative Commons resource, but in this case, I'm going to choose to use the tools that are already built in Google. So I'm going to search the web, and I literally could pick any background, but I'm actually just going to choose grass. Now, I don't want grass waving in the wind. I actually want grass that's going to be used for a background, so I'm going to be really literal and type grass background, and I'm going to press Enter. I don't know why I have a grass background cartoon. It tried to do the thinking for me. Let's try that again. There we go. And in this case, I come up with an image of just grass that kind of fills the frame. Now I can look through and choose the best image for me. I really like this one. I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to click Insert. And booyah, there we go. Here's my little grass image. I can actually resize it so it actually fills the whole page. You notice something? I accidentally moved that grass image. I didn't want to move it. Now that's the tricky thing when I'm working with students. I really don't want my background to be able to be moved. So I actually teach my students how to put their background on the master level. So I'm going to copy that picture, and to copy that picture, I can press Control-C on my keyboard. I have my blue boxes around it, so I've selected it. Or I can, press right-click and copy. I'm now going to open up my master because I can change the settings on these slides. I'm going to go to master, and to go to the master, I'm going to click on view. Now, Google being Google decided to change the name of the word master slide deck and change it to theme builder. Y'all, it's the master, okay? So click on theme builder. And now I can open up and place a new background. So I'm actually going to place a new slide. Ignore the one at the bottom. And I'm going to copy, I'm going to paste my image. So I'm going to click paste, boom. Now I don't want that text back there, so let me delete it. And I'm going to move my picture into position. I filled up that whole frame and now it's just green. Let's make sure it's perfect. Woohoo, it is. I don't have to save anything. I'm just going to press X. Well, nothing happened. Let me delete this image because I don't need it. How do I change that background? Well, now, making sure I have the slide selected, I'm going to click on Layout. And I have my custom layout. Booyah, right there. Now, if I just accidentally click on it, I can't drag it anywhere. So I want my background to be stable. I don't want my background to be able to be moved. So you place your background on the master layer in a new layout. Excellent. So I got my background. Woohoo! My next step is to find my characters. And to do that, I'm going to click on Insert again, Images, Search the web. I don't want that grass background, so what should I have? I think I'm going to have a butterfly. If I just press Enter, I'm going to get all kinds of butterflies. There's a problem with most of these butterflies. They have backgrounds. I don't want them to have a background. So this is where you have to be particular about your naming structure. So instead of butterfly, I can type butterfly transparent. And I could choose butterfly transparent background. And look at the difference. I want a butterfly that does not have a background. And you're going to choose a butterfly or choose an image that you like, whatever that it happens to be. I like this butterfly. And I'm going to say Insert. And hopefully there's no background. Love it. Love it. Now I am going to do, just because I'm a little pedantic, that's way too much white empty space when I'm trying to control this butterfly. So I'm going to do this. Boom. So here's my little butterfly. I can make my butterfly smaller. So as it's place it in position. So I'm resizing it. Clicking those bottom blue boxes. Yay, there's my butterfly. I think I'll put my butterfly at the top this time. There's my butterfly. Now, how do I create the animation? Well, this is the part where you spend some time. You're now going to duplicate each slide and very slowly move the butterfly around. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over to the left and I'm going to make sure my slide is chosen. I know it's chosen because it's got a yellow box around it. And I can press Control D on my keyboard. When I press Control D, it duplicates. And I'm just going to move the butterfly a little bit. I come back over here. I can choose to hit right click and choose duplicate slide, but I find Control D is faster. And I just move it a little bit. Click it again, move it a little bit. So you need to make sure you set up all your characters on the first slide. All the characters that are going to show up on the first slide. Set them up on the first slide. And then you can slowly but surely slightly move your characters on each duplicate slide. And that's going to simulate our movement, right? That's going to simulate movement just like we did for each of our other digital tools. In addition to adding images, you also could put in text where you put the letters one letter at a time, or rather one word at a time. That is your prerogative. Prerogative, I should say. Let's pick the right word here, girl. So that's your choice on how you want to do that. So I've added my little butterfly. I'm going to stick it out here so it's no longer in the frame. I've added my butterfly. Well, that looks great. But here's the thing, you're not finished. Remember, I said in order to make this an animation, you got to do some additional steps. So what is our next step? Well, I have to publish this to the web. So I'm going to click File, scroll down, and choose Publish to Web. Give it a moment. I want it to automatically advance, so I'm going to change this from 3 seconds to every second. I'm also going to turn on automatically starting and automatically restarting. I'm going to press Publish. Yes, I want to publish. Here's my link. I'm going to copy that link. I'm going to open a new tab. When I open that new tab, I'm going to paste that link. But wait, I'm not finished. Before I click off of that link, I need to look at my last numbers. It says equal 1,000. I can get rid of one of the zeros and change it to equal 100, but I want my butterfly to move faster than that, so I'm going to back up and I'm going to change that 1,000 to 75. I can then copy that link by pressing Control A and Control C so I have it for later. I'm going to press Enter and let's watch what happens. I'm going to ignore the first part. It looks like my butterfly is moving on its own. Ignore the first 2 slides. How cool is that? You can literally animate anything in Google Slide using this process. When I'm doing this with students, hush Google, when I'm using this with students, I tend to set things up ahead of time, and that's kind of what I've given you. We work collaboratively as a group, and we may look for different characters. And I kind of sort those characters along the side. So that's what slide number 2 is. This is kind of like my character bank. So we've worked as a team, my class, and we've decided we're going to include these objects. Think about maybe you're doing something on parts of a plant, and you can have those objects already selected that you agreed upon. You can also have speech bubbles that you can pull in, be they thought bubbles or speech bubbles. So go ahead and set your characters up, and then you already have them so that you can pull them into your canvas to work on. Looking at the time, my goal, I'm going to give you folks, let's see. Well, you know what? I'm still going to do it. I was planning to give you a couple of minutes, but I think I'm going to have to do that at a later time. You're going to come back and have a closer look at Google Slides, but you literally can create any object and animate it using Google Slides. It's a little bit tedious, or rather, I shouldn't say tedious, a little bit monotonous, but you can do it. Remember, this first slide talks you through the process, including how to change those numbers at the end. How cool is that? Look at the tutorials and have a go checking out Google Slides. How cool is that, right? So someone had a question, and let me make sure I answer. How did I get the characters not to be on the background? Well, I shared this slide with you as a copy. And before I shared it with you as a copy, I simply put my characters over to the slide. So I found my characters with the inset, like I showed you, inset images. And instead of putting it on the slide, I put them over to the side. So let's say I came here and I said images, and I'm searching the web. And let's say I'm looking for a submarine. And oops, I forgot to put transparent. And when I find my lovely little submarine, let's pick one. I still have to pick one I like. I'm gonna insert it. Instead of putting my submarine on my canvas, which is my place, right? I'm just gonna pull my submarine off to the side. You can put anything off to the side. Anything that is not in the slide area is just stored there. But you won't see it if you're in present mode. Like when I'm in present mode, you have no idea what I have off to the side. It's only when I pull it onto the canvas that you actually see it. So you can make all kinds of things and store all kinds of things off to the sides of a slide deck and no one knows it. I then can share this slide deck with you. So to share a slide deck as a copy, the easiest way to do that is to look at the slide, come up at the top and change the URL. That means highlight all the way to the word edit and change the word edit to the word copy. By changing all the way up to the word edit to the word copy, you copy the URL, and now I'm placing it as a brand new copy. That's how you create a forced copy. So when I share it and open that copy, you're going to get everything that I just did. So this is a brand new copy of a copy because I put the word copy in it. So that's how you create a forced copy. You just have to change the word edit to copy. See, now it's a brand new copy with all the changes that I've made to it. So you create a forced copy. Let me back up because I'm totally looking at our time and we're near the end, but I got to mention a couple more things. I'm so glad you decided to come and join me today for animation. Please dive deeper in the resources that I've shared with you. I also have some more resources that I want to talk about so that you can explore them on your own. Please don't think the learning stops because it doesn't. When you're thinking about animation, don't forget about coding. Scratch is a great tool for creating your own animations, from animating a name to animating characters to animating text as well. So do check out Scratch. They have some ready-made tutorials that you can use to animate loads of things. Here's a bonus resource. Check out Google CS First, where it has lots of instructional videos that walk you through step by step how to create a lot of these coding programs. And coding is a great, when you're looking at coding, at least what the students are doing at these age groups, it really is just digital animation. Another app, if you have an iPad, it's a free, there's a version of the free app as well as a paid version of the app. A really cool one to use is called Stop Motion Studio. Please take a closer look at that if you're using things in animation, right? We also use Tinker. It's another coding program, and there's some free components for Tinker. There's also some paid components, but there's lots of animation projects that are built into Tinker that you can check out as well. Here's a few more tools. If you may be familiar with Do Ink Green Screen, but did you know Do Ink also has an animation component where you can create animations using their companion app and pull it straight into your green screen videos? Check it out, friends. Coma is a very, very simple iPad app that we actually use with our kindergartners because literally they create animations with the click of one button. It is cool. They love doing it. We have our kindergartners creating animation, talking about positional words like where is in front of, behind, beside. So they create a lot of animations based on positional words. Some other resources to look at are over to the side on the right. We have some websites that you can check out. Flip Anime is a cool website to check out to create some flipbook animation. You can create your own pixelated characters of animated sprites by checking out Pixel. We have Stop Frame Animator, which is a British product, which you can use some, I don't know what they're called, those wooden art dolls. I don't know what they are. Those little small wooden art mannequins that you see in the art classes with the body parts, you can animate those or to bring them to life on the big screen as well. If you got some money, like totally give me some, but if you have some money, do check out Adobe Animate. It's like a huge, powerful animation image, an animation and illustration tool that I wish I could afford, but is powerful, especially really cool for students that are older than 13. It's a really cool product to check out, right? Here's some additional resources as well. Just want to get your knowledge base built higher. There's a complete guide to stop animation in the art room, which has some really good resources. Common Sense Media has some lesson plans that have been created. If you want to know some more background information about what is stop motion, these are two really good websites. Stop motion animation, what is it? And also Wonder Office. They're really good places to check out. Last but not least, I want to say that Karen D'Elia is here with me in spirit. She helped me create this, but Karen retired in June and she was not able to join me, but I know she sends her love to all of you. Thank you, my friends. Feel free to contact me. I'm always happy to have conversations with you. I hope you have enjoyed today's session because I have totally enjoyed having all of you here. Remember to share on that Padlet because I can't wait to see some of the animations that you have created. Please do click, scan the QR code. Let me move this out of the way. Scan that QR code so that you get credit for attending. Matter of fact, let me change this real quick. Make sure you scan that QR code so that you get credit for attending. And feel free, like I stated, feel free, like I stated, to reach out so that if you need any assistance, I'm always happy to help. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for spending your afternoon with me. I greatly appreciate it. Feel free to write any wows or wahoos in the chat or any questions you might have. Enjoy, my friends. Enjoy. Bye-bye, y'all. Aaron, I do PD. It depends on where. I do PD for my school. I do PD for NCDPI. I've done sessions at we have sessions for NC Ties, which is North Carolina as well. Thinking about whether or not to do some sessions in ISTE, but if you want me to do a PD, let me know what it will be. Feel free to contact me. I have my contact information. I do PD on a range of topics because this is my passion. This is totally my love, right? So what county am I in? I'm in Wake County. What county are you in, my friend? Wayne. So DPI had a lot of us traveling, I think it was 2 years ago now, where we traveled all across North Carolina and we're able to do different PDs up and down the coast of North Carolina, well, up and down and around North Carolina. So we did PDs across North Carolina then, but then COVID happened, so that kind of stopped. But I'm always happy to share my knowledge. So if you want to reach out, I'm happy to do it with you. Let me know what you got in mind. But feel free, send me an email and we can talk more about it. I'd love to be able to share that with you. Sure. Thanks. And like I said, do check out the, well, on August 1st, we all have to have our presentations put on Go Open. So if you check out Go Open NC, you'll see a lot of the sessions from today placed there as well. So there'll be copies of this session as well as the other one that I did, which was Tell Me a Digital Story. So thank you all so much. I love it. I love it. Please make sure you give yourself credit. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go. I think there's another session to check out as well. Enjoy. Enjoy. Make sure you scan that link. Bye-bye, everyone. Let me know if you need any assistance. I got a couple more people still with me.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for attending. Cool. I'm going to stop recording. Let's see.